Alumni and friends, many of you fellows know me quite well, and you know that when there's something that bothers me, I have to say something about it. I have to do something about it. Today is Yom HaShoah, and I heard last night and this morning many excerpts from speeches and quotes from speeches about Yom HaShoah. And some of them were actually eloquent and inspiring. And yet, it bothered me that they were missing the point. And it's not doing justice to the memory of the 6 million. It's not doing justice to the 1.5 million children that perished. It's not doing justice to the heroes and the courageous of the Warsaw Ghetto that stood up and fought. It's not doing their memory justice if we miss the point. Give me a few minutes to explain. In 1977, the Knesset debated the whole question of Yom HaShoah. And actually Menachem Begin stood up and said, we already have a day to shed tears and to mourn on the Churbanos of Klal Yisrael. We have Tisha B'Av. But it was quite evident that the secular leaders wanted to create something which was not a Churban, but a Sho'ah. Something that was separate. Why? In an article, Rev Yitzchok Hutner, the friend of the Bracha, the Gadol Hador, the Bachat Yitzchok, Rev Yitzchok Hutner was asked by Torah Messiah to explain the Torah Dika approach to Yom HaShoah. And there was one point, very interesting point that he said. He said that it was very, the secularists cannot accept the Shoah, the Holocaust, as being just a Churban. Because we know from our prophets, from our Neveh, that every Churban that we went through, there were causes. The prophets tell us the cause of the first Churban of the Beis HaMikdash, and that was by a Sheni. We have no prophet to tell us yet what was the cause of the Holocaust. But there must be causes. And it's very difficult for a secular Jew to admit that, because it goes against everything he believes in and his whole lifestyle. And yet, that's the point. If we're not going to learn from history, we may be forced, chas v'sholom, to relive it. We can't point out, we're not Nevi'im, what the cause was, but we can try to explain what we can learn from it. Actually, someone who suffered in the Warsaw Ghetto and perished in the Shoah, Rev Avraham Brzezinski, the author of Toras Avraham, the father-in-law of my Rebbe Rev Volby, and I believe also the Rev Yaakov Kamenetsky said so. Right? Rev Avraham writes 12 causes there in the ghetto of Slobodka. 12 things that if they would be strong, if we would be able to correct them, then we would not have to suffer through the genocide of the Nazis. And they're in the Sefer Ben Sheshes V'Eser, which is, I believe, reprinted as Olam HaYedidus by Rev Volby, right? And And there are things that, when I told it over to our Talmidim, they said right away, why, these things exist today. We better do something about it. Emunah, Shmira Shabbos, Tyrus HaMishpacha, family purity, carefulness and Ma'achalas Asuras, and eating things which are not kosher, Ribbis, Chinuch Abanim B'Torah u'Mitzvahs, Bittul Torah, Avos Re'ah B'Yisrael, having a love towards our fellow Jew, Chesed, Histapkus, being satisfied with a little Bitochen, trust, and Eretz Yisrael, the feeling and the love for Eretz Yisrael. Those 12 things. In the Warsaw, in the Slobodka ghetto, Rav Avraham said that we need the chizuk before, that was probably before the final solution was announced. But I ask you, and I ask the secular leaders of Israel, two things. Were they coincidences, or were they something to teach us a message? In 1844 in Brunswick, there was an assembly of Reformed Jews, and they created a Shulchan Aruch. They created that you no longer have to observe the mitzvahs as written in our Shulchan Aruch. And they permitted intermarriage. And Rabbi Yisrael Salanta, Zichron Tzadik V'Kodesh L'Bracha, heard of this. He said a prophetic statement. He said, they are making their own Shulchan Aruch. A time will come when the Goyim will make a Shulchan Aruch. And in their Shulchan Aruch they will say that you are not allowed to marry a Jew. And it's punishable by death. I don't know if he said that. He said they said they were not allowed to marry a Jew. And he said, Oy vavoy to us Jews from that Shulchan Aruch. And 90 years later, 1934 in Nuremberg, the Nazis, Yamach Shemam, published volumes, up to 22 volumes there were, of anti-Semitic laws. Among them, that if a German marries a Jew, capital punishment. Is that a coincidence? Is that a coincidence, or is that a message? So many in Germany and France and Western Europe tried to change their names so that they could be accepted by the German universities and professionals. And comes along the Nazis, the Yamach Shemam, and if your grandfather or great-grandfather or grandmother, doesn't matter, if there is a Jew among them, one Jew, even though you're not Jewish because your mother wasn't Jewish, doesn't make a difference. You're a Jew and you wear the badge. Is that a coincidence, or is that a message? If we're to learn, if we're to understand, or we must learn from the suffering of the Holocaust, we must learn to strengthen ourselves in every way and to reach out to our brothers and not to make the mistakes that led to such a Churban and such a catastrophe. And if we don't learn this, we are not giving proper respect or honor to their memory, and we are missing them.